Hey everybody, we're back from the break and I have our guest on today and she is actually a pretty amazing person. Her name is Ciara Lewis and she is the publisher of Fierce and Fearless Entrepreneur um, magazine. And anything that has been publishing, I love publishing. I've been into it myself for many, many years. And she has a lot of wonderful things to talk about this. On top of it, she is also now being distributed on Amazon and a couple other places. So we'd love to talk to her about her entrepreneurship and how she managed to do this, and I'll find out a little bit more about her. So welcome to the show, Ciara. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. I really like that you are in the publishing spectrum because I've been kind of, I had my own online magazine for many years, and it was actually a really fun thing to do.
Yeah.
I had to kind of give it up because of everything went kind of crazy and stuff, but it's something that I have really close to my heart. So let's kind of figure out and tell my audience, how did you even get to wanting to do this magazine?
So I think this is a passion that's burned within me for a while now. I'm a victim of domestic violence and sexual abuse. And like you said, I'm also just one that loves a story. I've been writing since I was in middle school. And so I just wanted to come up with a safe platform for women to be able to come and share their voice, be seen, be heard, understood, and just have a chance at a spotlight for those who may have ever felt unseen before. I know I've been there. I don't know. I think a lot of times maybe some of us have all been there at some point, whether it's in a certain crowd or maybe in school, and we just felt like we weren't seen like most other people. And so I wanted to create something to where we could have women come and be able to have that opportunity and help them to remember who they truly are authentically and reconnect with that.
That's really important. I have this really weird superpower. I can literally disappear right in front of your face, even though I'm standing right there. You can still see me, but it's like people forget me. So I know what that means. And I do know that a few years ago, I was sexually assaulted too,
Oh,
and nobody believed me. That was my problem. So I understand where you're coming from with that and how important it is, because a lot of the times people just don't want. I don't know if it's that they don't want to believe us. Or is it just the fact that they don't care?
I think there's definitely a lot behind when it comes to talking about domestic violence, and I think it comes from several different angles. I think that and sexual abuse, not just domestic violence, but I think that a lot of people are ashamed to talk about it. I know that was actually a personal problem of mine when it first happened to me. I think a lot of people are scared as to, what will come if they do open their mouth and say something. I also think that, like you said, people, shy back because they're not sure how people are going to perceive it. They're not sure if anyone's going to believe them and where it's going to go from there. So a lot of times I think we just kind of hold on to it because we don't truly know how to um put the story out there. We don't know how to tell our part of the story as to what happened and to relieve that pain. And so something I found for me was, like I said, to write. And so that's really what saved my life, was getting into writing, because it was hard for me to be able to actually tell this verbally to someone in the beginning and trust that someone was going to listen or understand what I had gone through, to an extent of where I was at. And then I was also, like I said, I was ashamed in the beginning, and it was hard. So for me, the paper, the notebook, the pen, that's what saved my life. And that's what I hope to help someone else do, if they're going through something like that as well.
I did the same thing. I was on paper and pen. I was writing things, but I also got behind the camera and I took pictures of things. So basically, what I did was I went through there and took my nightmares and put them onto actual photographs, so it emasculated it, which is what
Hmm.
you did. And that did save my life. And I think the biggest problem was I was just afraid that people would think I'm a liar. And so that was one of my biggest problems. Even though I did talk about it, I was really afraid that people just wouldn't believe me. And I think that's one of the scariest things to anybody that goes through anything traumatic, is that, will they believe me? Because I mean, to you, it's powerful. It's traumatic. It's life changing. And then
It
when
is.
somebody just is like, ah, I doubt that even really happened.
Yes,
It's like that hurts you to the core.
it does. It makes you want to, just crawl in a shell or crawl under a rock and never come out again. And I think that's kind of where I was for the longest. Um, I just really didn't know what to do with myself. And when it happened to me, um, my daughter was young and we lived in an apartment. So basically it was just me at the time, secluded, which is normally what they like to do to people. Um, and I didn't really have a lot of outreach where I was at. I didn't have anybody to truly come in and save me or to come in and talk to me. So it was like I was just in there with the walls. And, my daughter, which she's just a baby, she doesn't know what's going on, but I feel like she could sense that something was wrong. I know that she could pick up that something had happened and there was a change in me. And so, when I finally did decide to speak out and tell my mom and them and finally come back home, people embraced me in a way that I wasn't expecting, which helped me out a whole lot. So once I did come out of the fear and I broke the silence, it really helped me a whole lot.
I'll tell you that, I always think of like, why did I go through that? I mean, was that really necessary? But when I really look back at it, one of the things that these types of traumas actually cause is for you to not only be very self-sufficient, but strong as heck.
Yes.
I mean, and you become resourceful, you become uh, like when you have your back pinned to the wall. And
Yeah.
so I think people that have gone through this actually can turn into something very, very strong. They could be a strong leader. They could be a strong listener. And all of those are important when you're trying to run a business too, or just in your job in general, because it will help you become maybe get that raise or that promotion that you want.
Yes.
So it is you do an entrepreneur magazine. So tell me a little bit about what the magazine actually features as opposed to stories. And is it written by you or individual?
So there's different individuals that contribute to the magazine, and some of them are repeats. So we have some clients that, they feature every month. We have new clients every month and each story. And I think this is what I love the most about the magazine. Each story is different. Each story carries its own value, its own, background and its own strength. And, that's just what I enjoy. And most of these women I've actually personally talked with before we actually put the story into the magazine and just actually truly been able to hear the background and the things that they went through and where they've become is truly absolutely amazing. So we have women that will tell stories from how they started their business to where they are today. We've had people tell stories about domestic violence or abuse or divorce, finances, just different things. The magazine is filled with so many different things. Again, just a place to where women can come and share whatever it is that they feel could either help somebody else or, that they just wanted to get out because it is a story and they feel that someone needs to hear that story. And so that's what we do.
When I was younger, I'd
Uh-huh.
seen how much publishing has changed. I mean, when I was younger, it was newspaper, magazine, and that's about it. And
Yeah.
then with the introduction of the computer, we now have a digital platform as well. And I know sometimes, like when you're looking at something like this, you have those two options. But
Hmm.
print is very expensive and it's not as popular as it used to be because everybody wants that instant gratification. So at the same time, you can have it on a digital platform. But then you look at it this way. Do you make it like an actual magazine or do you use it as like a blog? I mean, how do you set it up? So when you came up with this, what was the business concept on how you were going to market your magazine?
Um, so I really have several different ways, that we're going to branch this magazine out. The first idea started with the magazine just because it was intriguing to me. And I like books. I've always enjoyed looking at magazines. I've always found interesting articles and things in magazines. And so that was the reason I chose to go the magazine route in the beginning. But yes, we are going to eventually have like a newsletter. We're actually going to have a section in the magazine that's called Let's Talk About It. And so we're going to have topics that, most women have a hard time talking about. And we're going to carry that over into a blog. So kind of like a, what is it, like a Dear Abby. And so I'm really excited to be able to add that into the magazine to just give it a little bit of a different flair. We are going to be starting our platform soon as well. So that way, any events that we have, or, if someone else has an event that they want to share, they're going to have space to do that, to where we can also do like live virtuals and things like that. We have merchandise. We have a podcast as well. We just haven't actually launched it yet. We are trying to get it finished up to release some of the first few episodes that we recorded. I wanted to kind of wait till we had, a couple in the bucket before we actually put it out to the public. But we do have the podcast, and we have our anthology. And our anthology is going to release in December. So there's lots of different things that, I've thought about, and things that I do want to do with the magazine that will step outside of the magazine itself, and other ways to capture what we believe in and what we stand for here.
When it comes to a magazine, obviously you have to make money. You got to be able to generate that revenue. And there are different ways of doing it. How does your particular magazine make money?
So we do advertising, and then of course, we sell the front and back as well, features, but we've also added to where we do, social media spotlights. We have a TV spotlight that comes with, the front and back cover. Um, what else do we do? And then like the podcast. So that's the other addition. We do have some other ideas coming in the works that we haven't actually released yet. Like I said, they're still just ideas right now at this point, but those are things of how we go about doing it right now. So basically just selling space in the magazine, and then, advertising it for actual sale.
What about the contributors? Do they pay to get their stuff contributed, or is it something that you just do for free and make the money off of uh, the advertising and stuff?
Yes, they pay. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry, I don't know what my computer's doing. Yes, they pay to be featured in the magazine. Uh-huh.
Because I mean, that's what I love about when you come up with stuff like this, and like I have an online radio station and stuff. So to be able to go through and have multiple ways that you can make money, and also you can get people out there. That's the biggest problem, is exposure. So having multiple ways of doing it, and generating that income is very important.
Yes.
So when it comes to articles and stuff like that, how do you go about figuring out what you're going to put in? I mean, obviously everybody can't just throw something in.
Yeah. So, each month we try to focus around a certain category. So like October, we did, breast cancer and domestic violence awareness month. And so we had a few features in there that, focused around that, just so we could show our support in that area. However, like I said, most of the magazine is, so we can kind of get a guidance or get a look into different career paths, what women are doing. We've even had some, fashion tips in there. So we mix it up a little bit, makeup tips, things like that. You just never know what you're going to see in this magazine. I mean, it's definitely, for entrepreneurs, but I think it's being angled at a different way, rather than opening a magazine and all you're seeing is somebody talking about, either finances or actual business structure. Like when you open this magazine, you're actually going to hear a story. You're going to truly see like the behind the scenes story of a, phenomenal, strong, fearless young woman. And that story is going to look different in each one that you read. And that's what I like about it. So it's not one of these magazines you're going to open it and each page is going to more than likely, look or seem the same to you. Each page is going to actually carry something totally different each time.
I know one of the things with any type of publishing, it's not only just uh, reading, it's visual. And so therefore you got to, whether it's online or it's in print, photos are very important. And a good quality photo is very, very important. And depending on what you're covering, obviously you probably don't have a reporter out covering politics or covering something in this other state that's going on, that current event. So what do you do for photos? Because if you ever use anything that's like you just grab it off of Google, like we used to do way back in the day, You can't do that anymore because if they catch you and it is copyrighted, you're going to be hit with a really heavy fine. So what do you do for this?
Most of all the photos are from the clients or either personal photos that I have of myself. Um, Now sometimes we will use like stock images from like Canva or something of that nature, but yeah, most of what's in there is like legit photos from whatever the clients are providing for the magazine.
Yeah, that's good. And a lot of people don't even realize that when you do anything like, a website is technically publishing. So if you do your website and you put out stuff out on there that you didn't pay for and it's copyright, you're going to get the same problem. You don't have to have a
Yes.
magazine to fall into that category.
No. Yeah.
So, what is your launch date? I mean, obviously, you probably have a couple. You've been launched for a little while. What is your long term goal? Say between now and next year, at the same time. What do you want to accomplish?
So next year we would like to start looking at having some chapters in each state, someone to, represent and carry on the brand of the company in local chapters. We would also like to, oh, well, we actually are also planning to extend the magazine out. So we're in two different collaborations right now, but one collaboration that I feel is okay to go ahead and announce. We are looking at starting a men's magazine next year. And so we are currently starting a soft launch starting in November to where we're having a section called Men of Impact. And each month that'll feature 1 to 2 men, in the spotlight and sharing what they do and how they connect well with women entrepreneurs and, about their business. So that's
Very
what we're
interesting.
going to do.
Well, this is a wonderful product, and I really hope that it does wonderful for you, and it really impacts a lot of people's lives positively. That's the most important part is positively impacting our lives. Tell everybody a little bit more about your where they could find you, your podcast, anything else you want to cover.
So you can find us at fierceandfearlessentrepreneur.com, or Instagram or Facebook at Fierce and Fearless Entrepreneur. And you can also email fiercefearlessentrepreneur2025@gmail.com. You will also be able to check out our anthology, Fierce Fearless Phoenix Rises from the Ashes, that will release December the 13th. It will be available on Amazon and several other platforms like Barnes& and Noble, Walmart, and Target.
And where can people get your magazine or
Where can I
subscribe
get
to
the
it?
magazine? The same places:
Same
Walmart,
place.
Target, Amazon, Barnes and Noble.
All right. Well, Ciara, this was a wonderful discussion. I'm really glad that you came on here and talked about your products and your situations that even drove you to this.
Thank you.
Because one of the biggest things I wanted this show to do is to show people that everybody hits a wall, everybody
Yes.
has obstacles, everybody has things, and if you can turn that into a positive, the world is unstoppable. So
Yep.
you're definitely one of those people I'd love to feature on this show, and thank you for coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you.
And guys, we unfortunately have to go pay some bills, so we will be back in about 3 minutes, and then I will finish out the show. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after.